Since my parents were scientists, they tried to be neutral, and they were raised Catholic, and both of my grandparents were active participants in the church. But since they were living in remote parts of Slovakia, it never really had an effect on my parents' career. And my parents were always going to church. Whenever we went to visit my grandparents, they went to the mass, and yet they had good positions. It never really impacted them. My dad had a leading position at the Ministry of Health. My mom was a very accomplished doctor. I mean, back then the scientists really didn't make much money and didn't have a recognition in our society. And I remember my parents complaining about that, and my mom sometimes feeling like she was a rag that everybody was wiping their feet on, and she would make more comments like that, especially dealing with patients who were workers, plumbers, and who were treating her not very nicely. I recall some memories like that.
So did the life for your family change for better after the revolution?
Yes, absolutely. My mom opened a private practice. My dad became a board member of all the multinational organizations, from the UN to World Health Organization. And they've been traveling always because my dad had to travel for work even before the government would send him on certain missions. And my mom would go along with him sometimes. She would get her visa permit, her visa. And but of course, after the communism collapsed, my parents were taking the full advantage of exploring the world and aligning it with their careers.
So were your parents in a communist party?
Yes, they were not participants, but they understood that if they wanted to advance or even be functional somehow, they had to do that. And it somehow worked out, even without. They would still go to church whenever we went to visit my grandparents, and then they would be part of the Communist Party. And somehow they didn't think much about it, and they just did what they had to do to survive and provide a healthy and happy environment for us.